Hey guys, welcome back to another episode from Quickfreeze's Game Room. Today is going to be episode 9 of Quickfreeze Versus, and I'm going to be playing a game based on one of my favorite cartoons when I was a kid. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the original Nintendo. And this episode was requested to me by Samuel F. from Facebook. Now, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was released in 1989 for the Nintendo Entertainment System and was developed by Konami. This was the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video game and was based on the 1987 TV show, even though the game's original design was based on the original comic strip. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles started as an American comic book published by Mirage Studios in 1984. The Turtles themselves are a group of 4 Teenage Mutant Turtles, each one with their own personality, style, and weapon. Leonardo, he's the courageous leader of the group and a devoted student to the martial arts, wielding 2 katana swords. He is the oldest among the Ninja Turtles and the most skilled fighter. He wears a blue bandana and was named after the scientist and painter Leonardo da Vinci. Where Raphael, he's the most aggressive of the group, he's basically the team's bad boy. He wears a red bandana and wields 2 pairs of sais. He's an intense fighter and he is named after the Italian painter and architect of High Renaissance, Raphael. The most knowledgeable of the group is Donatello. He's a scientist, inventor, engineer, and genius. He wears a purple mask and wields a bow staff. And Donatello is perhaps the least violent of the Ninja Turtles, preferring to use brain over brawn. And he was named after the sculptor Donatello. Now, Michelangelo, he's an easygoing, free spirit. Michelangelo wears an orange mask and wields 2 nunchakus. Michelangelo provides much of the comic relief and is the youngest of the 4 Ninja Turtles. And he is named after the Italian Renaissance painter and sculptor Michelangelo. The concept of the Ninja Turtles arose with a hilarious drawing sketched out by Kevin Eastman one evening while brainstorming with his friend Peter Laird. Using money from their tax returns with a loan from Eastman's uncle, the young artist self-published a single-issue comic intended to parody 4 of the most popular comic strips of the early 1980s, Marvel's Daredevil and New Mutants, and Dave Sim's Cerberus and Frank Miller's Ronin. Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles premiered in May of 1984 at a comic book convention held at the local Sheridan in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It was published by Mirage Comics in an oversized magazine-style format using black and white artwork on a cheap newsprint limited to a print run of only 3,000 copies. On December 28, 1987, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles' first cartoon series began, starting with a 5-part miniseries and beginning a regular Saturday morning cartoon series on October 1st of 1988. Their masks were now color-coded to each turtle, where previously they all wore red. The Ninja Turtles are portrayed as 4 wisecracking, pizza-obsessed superheroes who fight the forces of evil from their sewer hideout. The cast included new and different characters like Bebop, Rocksteady, Splinter, Shredder, Krang, and even more as the show grew in popularity. But that's a brief history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so let's get started and see if I can beat this game. Now, this game does have continues, so as before, I'm allowing myself 10 continues to beat this game. If I have to go over 10 continues for any reason, then I have failed to beat Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the original Nintendo. Okay, here we go. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Nintendo Entertainment System. We start off by introducing the 4 Ninja Turtles. Leonardo with his katana blades. Raphael with his sais. Michelangelo with his nunchakus, and Donatello with his bow staff. Now the story of this game is quite simple. Shredder has kidnapped April O'Neil, and your only clue of this is a small cutscene before the game even starts. But simply press start and you jump immediately right into the game. Now you start off using Leonardo, the turtle's leader. Now Leonardo is actually the weakest turtle in the entire game. His sword is mid-range, his attack is weak, and if you lose him in battle, it's not really a huge loss. So he's actually quite good to use at the beginning of the game. To start the game off, you want to go down the third manhole, and in here you'll find the recognized characters from the TV show, all the Mousers and Foot Soldiers. Now for Leonardo, these are actually just quite simple. One hit and they'll go down. Now when you make it to the end of this sewer, you'll meet the game's first boss, Bebop. Now this guy is actually quite simple. He'll simply just run back and forth. What you want to do is stay close to him, but not too close where he hurts you. Now most players will probably actually use Donatello because he has a longer reach and he's the strongest turtle, but I'm just sticking with Leonardo for the heck of it. Like I said, get in close, hit one shot, and then run away. All he does is run back and forth. Once you defeat him, you'll see Rocksteady take away April. If you're low on health like I am, go into the first building you see. You'll notice a full pizza. This is what restores the turtle's health. Now, there's a thing in this game called regenerating pizzas, where if you enter a building that just happens to have a pizza inside, grab the pizza and then exit the building. If you re-enter the same building, the pizza will respawn. Once you're outside, simply skip the next manhole and go to the one after it. This is the only way you can get to the second half of the level. When you enter these sewers, you'll notice something different. The enemies have changed. And there's a reason for this. This is where the game starts throwing random enemies at you. When you enter any building or any sewer, you'll encounter different enemies every time. It's completely random. But once you make it halfway through this sewer, you'll encounter a mini-boss. Again, this can be completely random. This time, I just happened to come across the chainsaw guy. He doesn't really do anything, he just simply walks back and forth, just like Bebop. But get in close and hit him. Now you'll just notice that I picked up a sub-item. These are the ninja stars, which is a single ninja star that can be thrown at enemies. It's not very powerful, but there's other sub-weapons in the game, like the triple ninja star, which is just like the single one, but with 3. A boomerang is also in the game where you're able to throw up to 3 boomerangs at a time. Other sub-weapons aren't really available at this point, but I'll get into them a little bit later on. Once you get out of the sewers, you want to enter the only building you're able to enter, and fight your way to the top. Now up here, I suggest you switch to Donatello, because you're about to fight another boss. This is Rocksteady, who happens to be holding April O'Neil hostage. Now there's a really easy trick to beat Rocksteady, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows it, but if you don't, I'll tell you. Simply get on the crates and attack down. Eventually, Rocksteady will come over and keep jumping up. Every time he jumps up, he'll hit your bow. Just keep doing this, and you'll defeat Rocksteady. As you just heard from April O'Neil, you have to stop the Foot Clan from destroying the dam from level 2. Now here, I'm going with Michelangelo because he's a little better than Leonardo. What I mean by that is, they both attack with pretty much the same strength, but Michelangelo is a little bit faster, and this puts him at a better advantage. Now this section of the dam is pretty straightforward, you just really want to get to the top. And once you reach the top floor, I recommend switching to Donatello because he has a longer reach and he is the strongest turtle. Once you make it outside the dam, simply jump into the water. And at this point, I highly recommend you switch to Raphael because Raphael just happens to be the most useless turtle in the game. Why?
because he has the shortest weapon, which means you gotta get really close to destroy enemies. And at certain points, you'll take damage more than you'll deal damage. Your job once you hit the water is to swim around defusing 8 bombs in the allotted time, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Now this is why I picked Raphael for this part, because there's no fighting involved. All you really have to do is to dodge all the deadly hazards, such as electrified fences, electrified seaweed, and seaweed that will pull you down, killing you instantly. Now, if you're not good at this part, you're going to probably use up all your turtles, because if you get zapped by a single seaweed, it'll take away about 2 blocks of your health. So I ended up using 3 continues at this part of the game, just because I couldn't get the timing down and I couldn't steer my turtle with the precision that I really needed. My advice is, take your time. Do not worry about the 2 minutes and 20 seconds, because if you rush this part of the level, you're going to lose your Ninja Turtles really quickly. But take your time, steer your turtle as best as you can, and eventually you'll make it to the end. Now, as you just witnessed, Splinter has been kidnapped by the evil Lord Shredder. So for level 3, it is your job to go rescue him. At the start of the level, go left and enter the first building you see. In here, you want to fight your way to the top. It doesn't really matter what turtle you use, but I recommend either Michelangelo or Donatello. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of sub-items in the game, and when you reach to the top, you'll find a very important one. These are the missiles for the party wagon. You're going to use these to destroy various blockades throughout the city. Once you make it back outside, get into your party wagon, because you're going to need more than 10 missiles to get to the end of the stage. Once you're in the party wagon, go left over the bridge and stay north of the city. You'll eventually get to your first barrier. Blow it up with your missiles. You'll then encounter small foot soldiers. These don't matter, just run over them and they'll easily die. Get out of your party wagon and cross over the footbridge, and go into the first building you see. Now in here, like always, the enemies are completely random, so I can't really give you any advice. Just stay on your toes. You're going to fight your way to the bottom of the building until eventually you hit the sewers. Now, if your turtles are low on health, I recommend trying the respawning pizza trick by jumping in the water. If you do this, you'll go back outside, re-enter the building, and you can keep getting that full pizza that you saw earlier. Once all your turtles are healed up, go back to the sewers. Here, you want to do light jumps. You don't want to overshoot your jump or you'll keep falling into the water, and you'll find a second missile pack. Now that you got 20 missiles, it's time to save Splinter. But before you can do that, you're going to need one more item, a length of rope. Now you can search all the buildings and all the sewers, and you're going to spend a long time doing so because this is like a maze. Now what you're looking for is a building somewhere in the middle of the maze. Now once you enter this building, you're going to be attacked by all these different creatures, but they're easily taken care of. Once they're all defeated, just jump up and grab the rope. With the rope in hand, you're going to want to travel east along the southern road, until you can't go any further. Travel north until you cross a couple of bridges. Then travel east. Eventually, you'll come across one single building. Just like before, the enemies inside this building are completely random, so I really have no advice for you except stay on your toes and be alert. Eventually, you're going to enter another set of sewers, and just like before, you want to jump very softly, because if you fall in the water, you're going to head back outside. Now this is the part of the game where it really started to get frustrating for me, because like I said, the enemies are completely random, and I kept falling into the water, because I didn't know if the enemies were coming from above, or they were coming from below. I didn't know what kind of platforms were coming up, so I just kept falling into the water over and over again. And as you can see, I made many attempts, but I just couldn't do it because I didn't know where the monsters were coming. I didn't know what monsters were coming, and it just freaked me out. Only one time did I actually make it to the end of the sewer, but again, I didn't know what was coming, so I freaked out and fell into the water. Now every time you fall in the water, it doesn't do any damage to you, but it just puts you outside. But you have to keep re-entering the same building over again every time you fall into the water. And with no pizzas around means no health. So you're going to have to fight all these different random enemies every time. And after a while, this takes its toll. And I actually used all 10 continues at this spot, just because I kept falling into the water, having to fight the same enemies over and over again with no health available. And it just got to the point where I was on my last continue and my last turtle. And when I died, that was it. I was unable to beat Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the original Nintendo.
My final thoughts of this game? It was a simple game. The combat was easy to get into. The game was full of characters from the TV show and some that weren't. But as you saw, it was the jumping in the sewers that got me in the end. So, in short, this game is okay. Do I recommend it? Yeah, I recommend it. If you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, you might get a kick out of this game. So yeah, I definitely recommend this game. Anyway guys, that is episode 9 of Quickfreeze Versus. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. As always, I will be posting a list of all the superhero games I own, so if you guys have a request for a game, please leave a comment below requesting that game. So, thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe. And I'm just going to end with, I'm Quickfreeze from Quickfreeze's Game Room, and I'm here to bring gamers together, one game at a time.